All right. So, how are you today?
Great. It's our fifth session.
Hi, Lada.
Hi, Celeste. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It is the fifth session, and we covered a lot of things, a lot of technical, very complex notions, which are impossible to understand with the books that they are on the market. Can we go find the book and understand what the hell are the Regiomontanian directions? What is going on there? No way, no way. Yeah, I think the hard part of the technical stuff is already covered.
Yay. Now more practical.
We'll see. Yeah,
like maybe we can look at people's charts and try and see.
Yeah, we can do this. We can do this, but there is some more things that we must talk about, which are very important, like the Babylonian directions, which are, well, Babylonian. Yeah, it's kind of directions like we can talk about some topics that we missed, and then after that we can look at somebody's charts. Yeah. But although you see, like, this is we must find charts which have very exact birthday. It's a very risky to work with primary directions if we don't know the exact birth time with at least plus minus, let's say, 5 minutes.
Maybe we can see according to the events in their life what the exact minute is with primary.
Oh yeah, this is the rectification. We can talk today a little bit about rectification, how I do the rectification, because we will not be able to do it today at someone's chart because it requires some time for the person to make a list with the events in his life. And it's not something that will pop up on the top of your head immediately. So you must think for several days. Remember, so it's very, very complex process. The rectification of the birth time is probably the most difficult thing in astrology. So let's start with questions before we proceed. Let's start with questions. I'll write here rectification. We'll talk about what do you need to do it. All right.
Hey, Lada, hey, Roman.
Sorry.
I had a question about the Iron Amsha that you use. You said you use the Fagan Bradley. Just
well,
why?
Yes, you see, I don't use the Fagan Bradley. Fagan Bradley use my Iron Amsha.
Oh.
Well, they are before me, actually, right? However, Iron Amsha. We can talk about Iron Amsha. Like Iron Amsha that they used actually is based on the Babylonian zodiac, which I'm using too. So about the Babylonian zodiac, like when the scholars were trying to understand whether the Babylonian zodiac is tropical, whether it's fixed. This was like in the beginning of the 20th century, like 120 years ago. They started researching these Babylonian astronomical texts and almanacs, like ephemeris. So they were researching these things, and they came to the conclusion, rightly so, that the Babylonian zodiac that was in use for the almanacs was sidereal. It was pinned, it was fixed on the stars, on the fixed stars. Not that this was the only zodiac that they used. As if you remember, I told you that I know 4 zodiacs that were in use in Babylon. 4, including the tropical one. But the zodiac that they used for observations, for almanacs, for ephemeris, was the sidereal zodiac, which is fixed on the stars. So when they started researching this text, this was the first conclusion that they came to, that this was sidereal, fixed on the stars. Good. And then they figured out actually where is the beginning of this zodiac on the starry sky. Where is the beginning? So the author who was the first. Let me try to show you this guy here. So let me find where was this. Okay, Astrology book here must be this one here. So the guy who figured this out first was the famous Franz Xavier Kugler, this Jesuit professor. So I'm looking for his picture here. I found him. Here is this guy. All right. So okay, wait a minute. Okay, what happened here? Where did you disappear? Here you are. So this guy, Franz Kugler, I think in a book in the beginning of the 1900, I think, was this, or very, very early, 1900. In the very beginning of the 20th century, this guy published a book which was called Mondrechnung, die Babylonische Mondrechnung, which means the Babylonian calculation of the moon. So, okay, you see this guy on the right who looks very, very self-confident. So this is the famous Franz Xaver Kugler, SJ, which means that he was a Jesuit professor.
He's making that. Sorry, Rumen. He's making that gesture where you put your hand inside your lapel.
Yeah, he, as you see, his left hand is, like he has put it in his cloak of Jesuit priest. I don't know why. Maybe this is just a gesture of self-confidence.
The Illuminati sign. It's of the secret Masonic orders, they call it.
I knew you would know, Lada. I knew you would know what I was talking about.
Maybe this guy is he was very intelligent, absolute genius in mathematics, but not only. He knew also a lot of ancient languages. He knew Akkadian, he knew quite Sumerian too. Not, of course, ancient Greek, Latin were like mother tongues for this guy. And he knew also mathematics and astronomy. He was a professor of astronomy and mathematics, you see here, at the Jesuit Ignatius College in Valkenburg, Holland. So, very, very, very bright mind. I mean, very intelligent guy, and he was like the brain of the church, of the Catholic Church, in this field, because you see, the field of Mesopotamia is a key stone. It is very, very important field of knowledge. Why? Because the religions are connected with Mesopotamia. All faiths, Judaism, Christianity, even Islam, everything is there, connected very much. So when things go to questions of faith, of credo, then objectivity and science are not so important. And some people, because they are fanatics, they have agenda. They have agenda to prove some tenets of their faith, what they believe is okay. So this was Franz Kugler. He actually was the guy who, according to my knowledge, to what I know about, I have read almost everything that this guy wrote. It is like 5,000 pages in German. So this guy was the one who, let's say, put the knowledge about Babylonian astrology in shackles for 100 years. This guy, like, he took as a hostage the Babylonian astrology and kept her in dungeon for 100 years until my book came out, the Babylonian Astrolabe.
Sounds right, Lada?
Yeah. So, well, how could he do it? Well, he could do it exactly because he was a very, very smart guy, very intelligent, as I told you, in mathematics, astronomy, but also in ancient languages. So he could destroy the Pan-Babylonists, who are on the left side here. You see, like this guy here, Hugo Winkler, is like he's one of the fathers of the Pan-Babylonianism, which the Pan-Babylonianism is a notion which believes that not everything, but many, many, many things came from Mesopotamia. In science, in religion, everywhere. So there was in the 100 years ago in Germany, somewhere from the end of the 19th century until the First World War, until 1914, this Pan-Babylonist movement was in its heyday. Very strong, many books. They published many books. They came to to very significant discoveries about the philosophy of Mesopotamia, about their belief systems, about their mindset and how they viewed the world. And one of the central tenets that they had was that the Babylonian astronomy was very, very ancient, and astrology, of course. This was their central tenet, that Babylonian astronomy, astrology is very ancient. Like they believe, for example, that it was probably around 2000 BC, even 3000 BC, according to them. They believe that in this time, 2000, this was the time of Sargon the Great. 2300 BC is the time of Sargon the Great. So they believe that around this time, and maybe before that, 1000 years before that, the Babylonian astronomy and astrology was already on very high level. So, however, here comes Kugler. When Kugler heard this, he decided to destroy this because these notions were not in harmony with his own narrow-minded understanding of Christianity. His fanatical clinging to dogmas and to beliefs which are not true. So he was very busy destroying the Pan-Babylonists, and he succeeded because he was so smart. He succeeded, and somewhere somewhere around 1914 and until 1930 there was still some remnants, and then everything was finished. He destroyed everything that the Pan-Babylonists did, and he put there nothing on the spot. He was done nothing. Maybe you have seen this movie, Never Ending Story. So there was this beast there, which was the beast of the nothing, right? Who was there to destroy the whole world, and this beast destroy. This was his aim, to destroy the whole world and to turn it into nothing. So this is the beast of the nothing. Franz Xaver Kugler, S.J., professor. However, I got this guy. And I destroyed him. In my book, The Babylonian Astrolabe, I dedicate a lot of pages on Kugler, and I prove everywhere how incorrect this guy was, and his students, because Kugler is in the base of the modern school in Mesopotamian astronomy, astrology. Like almost all modern scholars are following Kugler, with few exceptions, very, very few exceptions. So
I wonder if you, Rumen, I wonder if you looked at his chart, Kugler's chart, if you could see that he was actually working for a greater, it's like around those times that everything was controlled and becoming more controlled, and then society was starting to, it's all by design, like, in the way of controlling the minds of people.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's
So
this is the main aim, the
yeah,
control,
yeah,
the
yeah.
control.
Hey,
Yeah.
I have a question. It's kind of a side though. I'm curious about Mesopotamia and its how did the ancients see for example, India, did they have I know like we've heard of certain people from Mesopotamia going to Egypt and studying for a long time, like Pythagoras and those Pythagoras.
Wait a
um,
minute, I'll just put my this. Okay, I'll put this because I want to. Oh, maybe. Well, I cannot use them. I cannot use them with this. Well, unfortunately, I must go back to the normal. Yeah. So
you
what?
can take your time. You can
Yeah,
take your
yeah,
time and set it up.
yeah, yeah. Now it's okay. So what were you saying that?
I was just wondering, what does ancient Mesopotamia say about India and things that originated there? I know like some of the people from the area, like from Mesopotamia, were going to Egypt and studying, for example, or where does that like
Well, you
Egypt,
see,
India, maybe in your books I can see that. I just wanted to ask quickly.
actually, actually, they gathered knowledge from everywhere. The Mesopotamians. However, it is the other way around. The Egyptians studied from Mesopotamia, and
Yeah,
when there was a time when Egypt was part of. Okay, when was this? Let me think a little bit. Yeah, it was somewhere. I think in the Syrian Empire, somewhere in the first, in the 1000 something BC, when Egypt was actually part of the Assyrian Empire, and then a lot of knowledge from Babylon was transferred to Egypt, and it's the astrology, astronomy of Mesopotamia is what actually was taken by the Greeks and to some extent by the Egyptians too. But the Egyptians took it very, very early, like maybe in 3000 BC, when was Sumeria, like Gilgamesh
mm,
was. Gilgamesh, they date Gilgamesh around 3600 BC.
mm.
Um, and what about India? About India, actually, this civilization which was on the Indus River, which is called like Mohenjo-daro civilization, on the Indus River civilization. You have heard about this, like
Yes.
Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. So this was a civilization which was thriving parallel with the Sumerians. So it was like 4000 BC, maybe even 5000 BC, the beginnings of both civilizations. So there was one civilization of Sumeria in Mesopotamia, and at the same time, the Indus Valley civilization starting around 5000 BC and going until 3000 BC, even 2000 BC. So they called in Mesopotamia, they called the Indus Valley civilization Meluha, and they looked at it as a paradise on earth. In the literature
Wow.
of Mesopotamia, yes, they referred to Meluha as the paradise, and when we look at what the archaeology has to say about Meluha, about the Indus river civilization. Yeah, it looks like things were very, very good there, very nice. That there were no wars, that there were no satraps, like cruel kings. Like the society was much more egalitarian, much more peaceful, and much more spiritual than the Mesopotamian civilization. Because you see there, the archaeological data does not show a big stratification in the Indus Valley civilization. Like they could not find some big castles where the rich, powerful, cruel kings lived and terrorized everybody else, and some regions of slums where the rest of the population, enslaved and poor, lived like in almost all other cultures. They didn't find this. They, in the Indus Valley civilization, they find just like some kind of egalitarian society where the people were equal in their wealth, more or less, and also peaceful. That they were not. They could not find any proof of wars, of war kind of culture, weapons, or big walls surrounding the city and so on, or some pictures of wars and or people killing people. No, such things in the Indus Valley civilization did not exist. What they found, however, was that they found a lot of iconography. You have heard about this, like tablets with pictures there, even with science. There is they had a script. They had script there, which is still not deciphered. Nobody knows what is written there in this tablets. But they have very popular iconography is about one guy who looks very much like Buddha, like the much later Buddha. This guy is sitting in one of the yogic asanas, one of the yogic poses. It is not lotus, but it is this. Well, you can find this, see it. So this guy is sitting in this pose, and he has on his head something with horns, and he's very powerful, and like looks very spiritual. So I suppose that this guy was something like the Buddha of his time, and that there was a very rich mystical spiritual tradition there in this Meluha, Indus.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So when you bring in the Arabs, into your astrology, where were they exactly? Because I know Arabic is spoken in many places, many lands.
Arabs. Well, Arabs, they actually, you see, the language, the Arabic language, is very similar to the Akkadian. Very similar. So if actually many times I see roots and words which are almost the same in Arabic and in Akkadian. This was like the Sumerian language is much different. The Sumerian language is very different from the Semitic languages. It is more similar to the agglutinative Turkic languages. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but you see, like the Semitic people, they were living in Mesopotamia. So the Jewish people actually, they were there. They were there in, let's say, 2000 something BC, like 3000 BC, 2500 BC. They were living in Mesopotamia, and they moved out somewhere around, well, like 2000 something BC. They moved from there. Abraham, the prophet.
Right, right. Yeah.
So he took his tribe by some reason, and he was living in, it's in the Bible. Actually, he lived in the city which was dedicated to the moon, the lunar city, and he moved to the Fertile Crescent, to Palestine. So the Arabs, which are cousins of the Jews, so their languages, of course, are very, very similar too. They even understand each other when somebody talks in Arabic, and some Jewish guy understands what they're talking about. It's the same like Polish and Russian, or Bulgarian and Russian, and Bulgarian and Russian maybe. Very, very, or
like
Spanish
and Portuguese.
and
Like
I don't
Portuguese
know,
a little bit.
but maybe Spanish and Italian.
Italian, yeah.
So
Yeah.
So the Arabs, the civilization of the Arabs came on the forefront after the Prophet Muhammad made his his coming on the world stage, and he founded the first caliphate. So this was in the 6th, 7th century when these things happened. So then because I think is this in the Hadith, or is this in the Quran? It must be in one of these, like the Quran is, according to Islam, is the word of God himself through the archangel Gabriel. It's like they believe that Allah, or God, through the archangel Gabriel, Jibril, told these things to the Prophet Muhammad, and he told them to the people around him. So, and the Hadith, this is traditions. These are like gathered events and traditions with the Prophet Muhammad. What he said, what he did in some occasions, and this is not the word of God, but the practice of the Prophet. So we have this, the Quran and the Hadith, and somewhere there is one very, very important thing. Like it is said, you, the followers of Islam, go and gather knowledge from everywhere, from every corner of the world, even from the Chinese. So the knowledge was very estimated in the caliphate, in this heyday of the Islamic civilization. Knowledge was very esteemed, and they actually did it. They gathered knowledge from everywhere. They translated from all kinds of languages, from Persian, from Greek, from Hindi, from everywhere, just as the prophet told them to do. And also in the Quran, there are several instances where it is said that God put the stars on the sky for the people to watch them and to be signs for them. So in Islam, there is no this demonization of astrology, which we can find in some other religions like Christianity, Judaism. We can find some instances, some time periods when astrology was demonized, and astrologers were literally put on the stakes, like burnt. So these are the why astrology was so esteemed, and they developed it so rapidly in the Arabic, in the Islamic civilization. And this was actually in the time when astrology was being persecuted in the Christian world, like in the beginning, in the beginning of the Christian civilization, when they accepted Christianity. Which century was this? Like somewhere the 5th century, when Christianity was taking hold in Byzantium and in Rome, in Europe. In these first centuries, which were actually the beginning of the Dark Ages, all right, they you know very well that somewhere in the 6th century they destroyed the Athenian school. They destroyed the Athenian school somewhere in the beginning of the 6th century AD, and many of these astrologers, of these philosophers, who were mystics who were in the Athenian school, what did they do? Well, they escaped from persecution to Persia, which was in this time like the last remnant of the Alexander the Great empires that he did, that he founded. So Persia in this time was like the last of these kingdoms that Alexander the Great founded. So they escaped there in the 6th century, and a lot of things were translated in Old Persian in this time. So for 1 or for 2 centuries, this was the process. Like the knowledge about astrology, about Greek philosophy, and actually ancient knowledge, everything was transferred from Greece to Persia. Well, not that they didn't have their own ancient knowledge in Persia. Well, they had, but in addition to this, also the whole ancient Greek civilization, including astrology, was transferred from Greece to Persia for
Amazing.
1 or for 2 centuries. However, after 1 or 2 centuries, what happened? Well, the Arabs and the Islam came to Persia.
Mhm.
So the Arabs, they conquered Persia, which was how they did it. Like many historians are amazed that they cannot find a reason how could this happen? Because Persia was very strong empire with a very strong army and technology and science and everything. And the Arabs who conquered Persia, they were like on this kind of fields. They were like savages. Like they didn't have strong army, no technology, no science, nothing. So many historians just cannot understand how this happened. However, I know how this happened. This happened because the Persian civilization was at the end of its spiritual heyday. It was approaching its own spiritual death. And the same is true right now for the Western civilization.
Yeah, amazing.
For the same. It is. We
I
are.
wonder if I would imagine during that period when there was persecution and then everything moved to Persia, if we saw the artwork and the more subtle expressions, we would probably see astrology and all the secrets and everything all integrated into the artwork and the creativity and more subtle like poetry. And that's how it seems that people, when they're not so loud about saying things, they integrate it into the more subtle expressions.
Yes.
So that would be interesting.
Yes, it's so from when the Arabs conquered Persia, then the knowledge which was accumulated in Persia went to the Arab Caliphate. They translated all these works which were in Persian and which were before that which were in Greek. So from Greek they were translated in Persian, and then from Persian they were translated in Arabic. And all this knowledge accumulated in Persia went to the Arab Caliphate. And not surprisingly, in the first centuries of the Arab Caliphate, the majority of the scholars, the majority of the astrologers, of the philosophers, of the historians, of all these scholars were actually Persian guys. So yeah, so and then what happened? Very funny. Like these dark ages in the Western world, like from the 6th century, let's say, until the beginning of the Renaissance, maybe 1200, somewhere there. In Byzantium, the Renaissance became much earlier, like maybe 1000 AD, somewhere there, like several centuries before the Western Renaissance. Well, actually, in Byzantium, they have never entered very deep into the Dark Ages, like in the Western world. In Byzantium, there were too many, remnants of this ancient knowledge. They could not destroy everything. So it, not that they didn't want to do it. Well, maybe they were eager to destroy everything from the ancient civilization, but they could not do it. So when I go in Bulgaria, there are a lot of ruins of ancient temples from the ancient Greek civilization before Christianity. Many temples. And when I visit them, and all of them are destroyed in the 6th century. So you go to some of these temples here, and you read what is written there, and at the end you will see the temple was destroyed in the 6th century by earthquake. Okay, then you go to another temple. The temple was destroyed in the 6th century by fire and earthquake. And well, all temples, all pagan temples, temples in Bulgaria from the Hellenistic time were destroyed in the 6th century by earthquake and by fire. So this is not true. They were not destroyed by earthquake or by fire. They were destroyed by the so-called early Christians. What Porphyrius said about Jesus and about the Christians. Well, I have the same opinion. He said Jesus is okay, but not his followers.
Yeah.
So it's you see these people who actually made these atrocities, who destroyed all these temples, they destroyed also the ancient statues, because these early fanatical Christians, they were against the representation of the images. So for them, image, painting, statue was something devilish, something demonized, something very, very bad, and they destroyed them. Like when I went to Athens, to Greece, to these museums and to these temples, I noticed, and something that everybody knows, I noticed that the faces and the heads of most of the statues are destroyed. So who has done it and when? Well, the early Christians did it. The early Christians destroyed the faces and the heads of the ancient statues. Just like the Taliban blew up the Buddha. You know that? There was one big Buddha in Afghanistan, and the Taliban, the fanatics in the Islam, destroyed it. And the same thing with the early Christians. They were against these pictures, these depictions of faces, and they destroyed them. They were very successful destroying them. I don't believe that all early Christians were like this. This was probably not very big part of the early Christians, but very, very active. Like these fanatical, narrow-minded idiots, which we can find in any religion, almost, which are very, very active, and which are very far away from the true religion. So did Jesus tell anyone to destroy statues and pictures? Did he say this anywhere? No. This of course, this policy of the early church changed after several hundred years. Like this was maybe, I don't know in which century actually they allowed. Well, there is history, we can find this in which century they allowed for the statues and for the pictures, so they came back. So after, I don't know, 1-2 centuries, 3, they were busy destroying the statues and everything. And then something happened, and the church turned around and said, "Oh, it is okay. It is okay to have icons, to have pictures of everything." So then they stopped doing it, but they have destroyed already almost everything from the especially from the ancient Hellenistic culture. So what happened? I just wanted to tell you something very, very interesting, that I came to, like in when the Taliban destroyed the statue of Buddha, blew it up. 6 months after that, something happened. 6 months after the Taliban destroyed the statue of Buddha, the US Army destroyed the Taliban. 6 months. 6 months, karmic time from what they did and what they get in result. So there is this 6 months period, which is which I notice also in some other karmic chains, like when the American army went to Iraq, they destroyed a whole city there, Fallujah, because there were some bad guys there in Fallujah who did some terrible things with several, with how many Americans they killed several Americans in very bad way, and then the American army destroyed the whole city, which was like 300,000 people. So after they destroyed the whole city, 6 months after that, what happened? New Orleans was destroyed by a hurricane. 6 months. Yeah. So destruction breeds destruction. So this is the karmic law. Yeah, whether we like it or not, that's what happened, and this is what is happening in Ukraine now. Why now Ukraine is being destroyed? This is without reason. This is without karmic reason. No way. Everything which happens has its reason and its source. So this is because they did this to these areas. They're bombing them for so long, for 8 years. They were destroying Donbass. They were destroying with lack of water Crimea. They were forbidding all Russian schools. They were treating the Russians like criminals, and not only the Russians, and everybody. And now they are wondering, why is this happening to their country? Well, and if what I see now is that this conflict is being fed by both sides. By Putin from one side, he is increasing the hostility, and from Ukraine and from NATO from the other side, they are increasing the hostility. So it's like crescendo, more and more violence, and more violence breeds more violence. And this is
many wars are like that, though, huh, Rumen? Many wars have been like that because they make a lot of money on that. It's like
they
pretend to be at opposite, but it's actually the same people. It's the same.
It is like it's like this circle. How do they say this? This was a circle of destruction breeds destruction. More destruction breeds more and more destruction, and it goes around without ending. Or when everything is destroyed, and when there is nothing left to be destroyed. So I guess now we are in the end of this 2000 period. This 2000 big epoch, we are at the very end. Well, we have like 360 well, a little bit less than 360 years until the end. But now it is starting to get a steam, because in the end of every cycle there is destruction, and this 2000 years cycle, now we are at the end of this cycle, and now there is this time of the apocalyptic changes. Like if we go in the time of Jesus, okay, when did actually Jesus arrive? When did he arrive? He arrived like something like 230 years before the spring equinox entered into Pisces. 230 years before the astronomical change of the big epoch appeared Jesus. So right now we are like 350 something years before the astronomical change of the big epoch, and that's why all this is happening now. So it's we'll see. We have a long way to go still, and we'll see what will be the end. The end result should be like the end of this civilization and the beginning of a new civilization, which will play out in the next probably 300, 400 years.
Do you have in your books what you were talking about, the 4 zodiacs?
Whether I have the 4 zodiacs?
Yeah, you were saying before that there were 4 zodiacs that were used.
Yeah, I talk about them. I talk about them in some of my webinars. But in the book, in the Babylonian Astrolabe, I describe the fixed Babylonian zodiac and the tropical Babylonian zodiac. But they have 2 more. Like you see, like
did those start with Taurus?
Pardon?
Did those other zodiacs, did they use Taurus as the beginning?
They were used, yes, of course, they're used, like this Ptolemaic tropical zodiac, which the beginning is with the spring equinox. Actually, this is this was in use in Mesopotamia. This kind of zodiac. I'm looking here something. Okay, this tropical zodiac that we are using now, and that has the fame that was used by Ptolemy. Actually, it was figured out a long time before Ptolemy. There was several Greek astronomers before Ptolemy who used this tropical zodiac, and this zodiac was used in Mesopotamia before them. The same zodiac that is used now in the modern Western astrology, with the beginning in the spring equinox. They used in Mesopotamia. They used this zodiac to compute the daylight, to compute how long is the day and how long is the night. This was how they used this Ptolemaic tropical zodiac. So they had another tropical zodiac, which is described in the book Mul Apin, and in this zodiac, it is very, very similar to the Ptolemite. However, the spring equinox is in the middle of the first section, which they called not Aries, they called the first section Nisan, which is the first month. So
that's
okay.
the 3 that you use in Placidus, right?
In Placidus, yes, you can see this. You can see this zodiac too, the Babylonian tropical one. Amazingly, there are several Greek astronomers who actually used this Babylonian tropical zodiac with the spring equinox in the middle, and there are textual evidence about this. I think in my book I even mentioned this, where exactly, like because, like, you see, there is who was this? I forgot his name. I think it was this Eudoxus. Well, there was one Greek astronomer before Ptolemy, and he said something very, very interesting. Like, he said about, like, when he was talking about signs which see each other, signs who see each other. These are signs with the same declination, signs who rise on the same place of the horizon. And very, very interestingly, he said that Gemini and Leo are the signs who see each other, and this is possible only if the summer solstice is in the middle of Cancer, in the middle. And in this way, on one side is Gemini, on the other side is Leo, and up is Cancer, and in the middle is the summer solstice. So in this way, Gemini and Leo are absolutely equally rising from the same place on the horizon. So there is a lot of evidence that some of the Greek astrologers used, and astronomers too, used the Babylonian tropical zodiac. But let's go back to the. Okay, look, I will show you where I talk about. Okay, here is this guy Kugler, who figured out the fixed Babylonian zodiac. But something to tell you is that in his book, when he is talking about the Babylonian fixed zodiac, he is talking in such a way that, you know, it's very, very hard to understand what he is actually saying, because he will not tell you some simple things, you know. He will tell you, like, oh, the beginning of the Babylonian fixed zodiac in 323 BC started like 1 degree and 23 minutes west of the Zeta from Pisces. What? So, you know, it is impossible to make heads or tails with this kind of vague assertions. So we can find out, of course, what he meant when we analyze this kind of saying, and we research, and in the end we will come to one very, very simple fact. And all this vague and complex talking by this Professor Kugler we can transform into something extremely simple. The Babylonian zodiac, in the Babylonian zodiac, the star Aldebaran is in the middle of Taurus, 1500 Taurus. This is where Aldebaran in the fixed Babylonian zodiac is, in the middle of Taurus, 1500. That's it. That's it. Very, very simple. Everybody can understand this. Not this kind of crazy stuff, you know. Oh, 323 BC, it was like, well, what? Scholars are like this Saturnian scholars, institutionalized scholars. They are like this, you know. They just want to talk vaguely that the ordinary people do not understand them, so they must look very, very smart and very, very knowledgeable with all this bullshit that they are talking, with these languages that they invent only to make themselves, very, very intelligent to look in the eyes of the others. The same with the medical terminology, you know, when they say very simple diagnostic things, very simple words, but they say them in Latin. And the same with this kind of bullshit that the institutionalized scholars do. So because they must earn, you know, their grants that come from the state or from Rockefeller or from the church, you know, they must earn this, and they earn this when they gave the impression that they're so smart and so intelligent that nobody understands them, and they are very successful in this. So
just 15 degrees Taurus.
15, yeah. This is Aldebaran is in 1500 Taurus. One thing more, Fagan, this guy was absolutely brilliant astrologer. I have read several things that he wrote. This guy is absolutely amazing. He read Kugler, and he took his Einamsha from Kugler. Okay, I read Kugler too, but also I read also other scholars who came after Kugler and who researched the same topic, the same problem with the fixed Babylonian zodiac. There is one guy, Peter Huber, who I think somewhere in 1954, I guess, he wrote one excellent article about the fixed Babylonian zodiac, and he compared a lot of data, and he came to the same conclusion actually as Kugler, the same conclusion. So both of them have come to this same conclusion, which can be translated in very simple words. Aldebaran is 1500 Taurus. And you see, Einamsha, this is just the difference between the beginning of the Babylonian fixed zodiac or any fixed zodiac and the tropical one. This is the difference, and the Einamsha, as you know very well, changes like every year, every day even. It changes because of the precession. And in India, they have several Einamshas. So I think this way of thinking is widespread among astrologers, but it may be confusing. I think the best way is the other way around, to think the other way around, to think about any fixed zodiac like taking a star with a very simple position, like in the Babylonian fixed zodiac, Aldebaran, 1500 Taurus. In one of the most used, most famous Vedic astrology sidereal zodiac, it is Spica, Spica is in 0, 0, Libra. In the Babylonian fixed zodiac, Spica is somewhere, I think, in 29 degrees and 04 or 06 minutes in Virgo. So the difference is less than 1 degree.
Rumen, can I ask something?
Sure, yeah.
So, okay, so all the fixed star zodiacs also divide by 30 degrees each sign, but when you look with your own eyes, say, for example, I have my Venus at the 1st degree in sidereal Aries, according to the Babylonian zodiac, but you actually see it's still the fishes there.
The Pisces, yes?
Yeah, so would it mean that my Venus is more on the Pisces influence, or is it, even though with your own eye you see it's in Pisces, but in the Babylonian it's in Aries already, even though Aries is still not there? How would you interpret it? Planets that are like, you know, they're supposed to be saying already in Aries, but they're still in Pisces, even with the sidereal one. Could you give it meaning to that?
Well, we will. I would interpret this in the Apollonian way. I will look at the image. I will look at the image of the constellation. I will look where exactly is Venus, in which part of this fish there. And actually, this fish, which is in the beginning of Babylonian Aries, it is in ancient Hellenistic times. This, and in Babylon also, this was the constellation of Athena Palace. Athena Palace. So it is, you see, Athena Palace is like the warrior divinity of strategy, of success, of victory, of divine wisdom. And in some way, Athena Palace in some way is like divinity, like archetype, is similar to Hephaestus, right? And to Ares even. Ares is of the war too, but Ares is like a, a little bit primitive guy, although very, very courageous, very courageous. But he lacks the strategy that Athena Palace has. But they both are war. They are divinities of war. Athena Palace and Ares. And Hephaestus is another kind of archetype connected with the planet Mars. Hephaestus is this guy who is making all these kinds of and like he's a good smith, he's a good carpenter, well, how to say it, like all kinds of this technological stuff. Hephaestus made he made wait a minute. For every divinity, every divinity has some kind of instrument, for his or her functions. For example, the sun. The sun rides on this chariot. Well, who made this chariot? Well, Hephaestus. Okay, like what
Hey,
else?
Rumen,
Yeah.
quickly, sorry. Would you say that Palace is more for focused on a group of people, whereas Ares is more for the individual?
Athena is the strategy of war. It is wisdom. It is wisdom. It is cool head and good, wise strategy. And Ares is just a courageous guy, strong guy, courageous guy, Schwarzenegger, who takes the sword and goes in battle, and is very happy to be in battle and doesn't care if he will die not. So yeah.
Yeah, wisdom of strategy. Got it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Athena powers. So also Hephaestus made the how do you say, the corset of Aphrodite. This kind of thing that women put here on their waist to make them look more like a glass.
Yeah, the
Their
corset.
waist to become more narrow. So they, I don't know whether I use the correct word in English. I think in French and in
That's
Bulgarian,
right. Corset. Yeah.
corset. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hephaestus made the corset of Aphrodite. He made the chariot of Helios. So this guy is this master, and this is like the constructive phase of Mars. When Mars is in good position, Oriental, nighttime Mars in a good place in the zodiac, it's more associated with this Hephaestus. This is like I think in this book I'll show you 122 on 122 page, which must be here, I think 144, because there's 20 pages before that. Let me see, where is that? On this page there is one section about the fixed Babylonian zodiac. Here you go. Look here. This is page 122 from my book, The Babylonian Astrolabe. And here I talk about the fixed Babylonian zodiac. Look here, the Assyriology.
That looks brilliant. That
Yeah.
looks pretty brilliant there, Rumen.
Yeah. Here, the Assyriologist Kugler and Huber. Yeah. This is so Aldebaran at 15 degree of Taurus. So here I also quote some Greek language astrologers, Hellenistic astrologers, who actually used the fixed Babylonian zodiac. It's like it is absolutely crazy. Oh, wait a minute. Where did I go here? What happened here? Wait a minute. I got lost here somewhere. Here. So it is absolutely crazy that many of the modern researchers of history of astrology, of Hellenistic Greek astronomy and astrology, they believe that the Greek astrologers used the Ptolemaic tropical ecliptic, the Ptolemaic tropical zodiac. They seriously believe this, which is not true, which is not correct. They started using it several centuries after Ptolemy, maybe in the 4th century, like probably somewhere after the 4th century AD. The Hellenistic astrologers until the 3rd century en masse used the Babylonian fixed zodiac, and many of them continued using it many centuries after Ptolemy. Actually, there was one tradition in the Arabic civilization. In the Islamic civilization, there was one tradition of astrology in the Maghreb, somewhere in Morocco there, who used the Babylonian fixed zodiac until the 15th century AD. So here in this here I quote several Hellenistic astrologers, and I prove beyond doubt that they used the Babylonian fixed zodiac, because you see here like Hephaestion, all right, Hephaestion. Okay, in his second book, okay, he is quoting Antigonus of Nicaea. You know, Antigonus of Nicaea is like very, very early. I believe the 1st century AD or BC, somewhere there around Jesus time. This Antigonus of Nicaea, and he's quoting him. All right, and look here what he's saying. He is talking about the moon and some degrees. Okay, so look here, the so-called royal one, a fixed star, the royal one, which is in the heart of the lion, around the 5th degree. Who is this? Regulus. This is Regulus. And guess where is Regulus in the Babylonian fixed zodiac? Right there, in the 5th degree. In the 5th degree of Leo. So Antigonus is saying this somewhere around the Jesus time. And in the Ptolemaic tropical zodiac, in this time, Regulus was not at the 5th degree. Like it was in a different place. So like maybe 3 degrees difference. 3 degrees difference, like it will move. Okay, let's think about this. Okay, like okay, it's like the tropical one, and then will be the 5th degree. Yeah, it would have been somewhere in maybe in the 2nd degree of tropical Ptolemaic Leo. We can see this. We can see this on the program actually. Okay, look now. I'll go Porphyrius Magus. I will go to dynamic. You know, Antigonus of Nicaea. When did this guy live? About 100 AD maybe. So let's put 100 AD. Let's see where is Regulus. All right, if we 100 AD maybe not. It is not in the 5th degree. Well, pretty close actually. Pretty close, but if we go to Jesus time, yeah, it will be, well, wait a minute, I am at the Babylonian. Let's go to the tropical one. Look here. This is the tropical Ptolemaic. And Jesus time, 0. Regulus is where it's like, when I point to Regulus, it's like in the 2nd degree, in the 2nd degree of tropical Leo. If I put 100 AD, okay, I point here, Regulus will be in the 3rd degree of Leo. So we can even see everything. Okay, if we go here, helical phases, stars helical phases. Here we can click on Regulus. Let's see, where is Regulus? All right, okay. All right, here is this guy, Regulus. I click here and I see here Ptolemaic tropical is, all right, let's see where it is. Additional data, longitude, Babylonian tropical. Okay, this is, well, I must change the the year here, I must change to 100 AD. Okay, I put here the year 100 AD. I click compute and look here, Ptolemaic tropical, 3 degrees and 30 minutes. Well, so all right, here, of course, this is not the only place in the ancient Greek literature about astrology which proves that they used the Babylonian fixed zodiac. This is only one of the many places. Yeah.
Thank you.
So look what he's naming Regulus by name, the royal one. Actually, Regulus in Mesopotamia, the name of the star was the same. They called it Lugal, which means king, the star of the king. So look here, and the moon coming near the 15th degree of Taurus and in Brave, which means the same latitude, makes rich people managers and so on. So we know who is there, right? Aldebaran. So here he is also saying the moon being near the bright star in the 30th degree of Taurus. So he is saying, like here he's naming several stars and telling their longitude in the Babylonian fixed zodiac. And you know what? Not only Antigonus, but also Valens. I think I say here about Valens. Let's see. Do I say here about Valens? Maybe, let me see. Okay, okay, I'll find it. Here, look here. I take the end of antiquity, 529 AD. Why? Because this was the year when the Athenian school, the Athenian academy, was destroyed. So let me see if I can. Here it is. Valens, look here. Valens states, I say exactly where. He states that the Pleiades are by the 5th degree of Taurus. And the Pleiades in the Babylonian zodiac are in the 5th and the 6th degree. Yeah, so there are many proofs, about this. And what is amazing is that the majority of the modern astrologers, even the researchers, from such rank as these guys from the Project Hindsight, Robert Hunt, Robert Schmidt, Zoller, and some other quite famous astrologers, they believed that the Hellenistic astrologers used the tropical Ptolemaic ecliptic, which is not true. But you see, people are so attached to their own credo, to their own system in science, in astrology, in philosophy, in politics, everywhere, that this makes them blind to the truth, unfortunately.
You're talking about the Ptolemaic ecliptic, is you're talking about the starting point, right? Like the INM. The Ptolemaic ecliptic, you're talking about the starting point of the zodiac, right?
The Ptolemaic ecliptic, the starting point is the spring equinox.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is here where I discuss and this is in the Babylonian zodiac, in the Babylonian fixed zodiac. So what will happen here if we make this picture not with the Babylonian fixed zodiac, but with the Vedic, fixed zodiac, which puts speaker in 00 Libra. We must move to the right the separating lines which are which are encasing the Taurus. So this line here, which is like in between the Taurus and Gemini, we must move almost 1 degree to the right. So if we do this, what will happen? The star here, which is on the tip of one of the horns of Taurus, will be cut. It will remain in Gemini. And you remember what said this guy here? All right, let me see. Okay, the moon being near the bright star in the 30th degree of Taurus. That's it. Now we know. So you see, like when I'm thinking about this, whether the Vedic most used iron amsha or the Babylonian is closer to the truth, logically, visually, I would assume that the Babylonian, because in the Babylonian zodiac, the image of Taurus will remain whole, intact, and in the Vedic with speaker in 00 Libra, we must cut the tip of his southern horn, and it will remain in Gemini, the tip of his southern horn. So his image will not be whole. Yeah. So that's, and also the amazing part is that Scorpio. Okay, this is Aries in the Babylonian zodiac. This is Libra. This is here Scorpio. So the amazing part here is that Scorpio, Antares is almost absolutely exactly opposite Aldebaran. You see, I don't know how many minutes is the difference, but yeah, but you see, Antares is almost exactly opposite Aldebaran. And Shaula, you see here Shaula, which is the tip of the stink of Scorpio. Actually, here the image of Scorpio is not quite correct, because you see where is the tip. The tip actually should be here, like it should be like this, and Shaula must be the stink of Scorpio. So the stink of Scorpio is almost exactly at 30:00, a little bit, before that, but very, very close. And Antares is in the middle. So this is like the opposite image of Taurus. In Taurus, we have Aldebaran in the middle, and we have the tip of the horn in 30:00. And here we have the other way around, Antares in the middle and Shaula in the 30th degree. So when I look at this, I see here like the how to say it, like the sign of God. This is like the the uh, the scripture of God, who makes this possible, who has done this in such a perfect way that for us on Earth we can see these stars in this kind of relation. And the same also with the same size of the disk of the moon and the sun. The moon and the sun, their disks are, the diameter is somewhere around half a degree, like 30 minutes of the moon and the sun, the same. So is this not amazing? How does this happen actually? How is this possible? That the disk of the moon is the same size as the disk of the sun. This is the hand of God here. He has made this for us in order to see this and to make possible these eclipses. So if you ask the astronomers, they will say that millions of years ago and millions of years in the future, this will not be the case. Like the diameter of the moon and the diameter of the sun will be completely different. Many years ago, millions and millions after us, this will change. Probably they are right. Maybe they are correct in this, because everything changes, right? The whole world changes constantly. So this should not stay the same. It must change at some point. But the fact that right now, when the human race is on Earth thriving, and this is the case with the disks of the sun and the moon, is very telling that this world is not so chaotic as someone wants to make us believe. This world is very ordered and very full with signs. So here is Scorpio. This is the, like here in this chapter, which is, whoever from you have this book, this is a very interesting chapter, because it is dedicated to this. Let me find the beginning. Okay, this is this is dedicated to one very interesting text, which is called LBAT 1499. LBAT means Late Babylonian Astronomical Texts. This is a book where Abraham Sachs gathered different astronomical texts from Babylonian times, and he named this compendium, this gathering of texts, he named them Late Babylonian Astronomical Texts, and they are in cuneiform, only in cuneiform. There is no transliteration in Latin with Latin alphabet, and there is no translation, only cuneiform. So this text, 1499, Late Babylonian astronomical text, this is what I discuss here, which is a very interesting text, and some very famous professors, including the right hand of Kugler, What was this Strassmayer? Yeah. Well, no, Schaumberger. Schaumberger. Yeah. Schaumberger was one of the helpers of Kugler, one of his best students. So he wrote something about this text. And also Rochberg, Francesca Rochberg. You know, she is a professor in California, in Berkeley. In Berkeley, she's a professor. She has published this book, Babylonian Horoscopes. So in this field, she's one of the colossus, one of the big guys, the heavy guns, you know, of the institutionalized scholars. I'll never get tired of blasting the institutional scholars, because not so much that they are prejudiced and that they are very incorrect in many things, but because they are very arrogant, very.
Another
very,
reason we love you.
Yeah?
Another reason we love you, Rumen. It's another reason we love you.
because I'm blasting them off. Yeah. I'll let them.
Yeah. But you're doing it in the Athena Palace way.
Yeah. In this chapter, I just destroyed them. I destroyed the right hand of Kugler. I destroyed Kugler in some other chapters, but in this chapter, I destroyed Schaumberger, and I destroyed one of the most famous modern professors, Francesca Rochberg, in this field, because you see they analyze this text, and they talk about this. They write about, they translate it. Well, they try to translate it. Then they analyze it, and they talk about what is the sense here and what is this text about, and they're completely wrong. They're absolutely wrong, and here I prove this plainly, absolutely plainly for anyone to see. Anyone with IQ above 30 can see how wrong these guys are. Imagine what these are, the heavy guns of the modern paradigm in the field of Babylonian astrology and astronomy, and they don't know a shit. So what the hell is happening here? So here is like, so I'm starting with destroying Schaumberger, and I take his hypothesis, if it is as if it is true, and then I try to use it in this text. And what is happening is absolutely amazing, because this will lead to very absurd results. Like, if you use his theory, then the priest, okay, here, look here, okay, the priest should have also, according to the theory of, if we follow the theory of Schaumberger, okay, let me see. Okay. This would mean that so we will end up in 1 year. In 1 year, we would have 9 months with expected eclipses. And because Schaumberger say, okay, this text is about predicting. about predicting eclipses. And he is describing how, according to the text, he believed that they predicted. And when I follow his theory, we come to this result that every year we should predict around 9 eclipses. So this is his first error. And, you know, to predict 9 eclipses, solar eclipses every year is absolute insane. You know, what do you think the king will say? If you say, if you are Schaumburger, and Schaumburger was a priest in the time of the Babylonian kings, and he tells the king that there will be 9 eclipses solar in the year, and every solar eclipse has a very devastating consequences. You know, so if he predicts like 9 times for every year solar eclipses and these horrible consequences, and how do you think the king would feel? Well, he will be agitated, right? He will be worried. But then what will happen? Well, these eclipses will not materialize. They would not happen. So what do you think will happen with Schaumburger? All right, I here say what would happen to him. Okay, so to do this would be not only absurd, but also dangerous. If Schaumburger was a Babylonian priest, his career would have been indeed very short, if not worse. So, yeah, you know, if this guy did this stupid predictions, the king would probably get rid of him very, very quickly and in a very, very final way. So, and then I go to Francesca Rockberg. I give her translation here. And okay, she leaves something, a word which she does not translate because she doesn't know how to translate the word. And it turns out also that she doesn't know where a sentence starts and where it ends. Because as I told you, in Akkadian, there are no capital letters and there are no periods. So you don't know where a sentence starts and where ends. You must read the text, and from the context, from the logic, you know where a sentence will start and where it ends. However, if you don't understand the text, then you don't know where the sentence starts. And this is what happens with the famous professor in Berkeley, Francesca Rockberg. So she translates this in a completely wrong way. And here I explain why is this impossible, why this is absolutely incorrect. So whoever wants to go deeper here, you can get this book, read it, see it. It's explained very, very easily. Because she comes with a pattern, like she is following actually Schaumburger. What this guy Schaumburger wrote, she is following him, and she comes to this kind of pattern. All right, like here, the ninth portion of the sun, of the sign, and so on and so on. So like here. The sixth portion of Aries is called Virgo of Aries. All right, Ulu, all right, month 6. Kur in Ulu, morning of the 28th. Kidney produced a flare. The distance 1 degree 40 minutes east of the shoulder of the Panther culminates, and the sun ditto begins an eclipse. Anyone understands anything here? I don't. And nobody actually understands what the hell is going on here. You know, the sixth portion of Aries is called Virgo of Aries. Okay, yeah, this is the Dodecatemorion, yes. The first portion of Aries is Aries, so the sixth is Virgo. Okay, then Ulu, the 6th month. Okay, they make a connection, correlation between the sixth Dodecatemoria and the 6th month. Good. Okay, this is understanding. Okay, then Kur in Ulu, morning of the 28th. What the hell is this? Kur. This is a Sumerian logogram. In the Akkadian language, you know, they have a lot of so-called Sumerograms, which are like they are like symbolic signs, which can mean many things. So this is kind of how to say, this is not alphabetic writing, but this is writing with symbols. The Sumerians, they actually used both. You know, they used writing with not alphabetic, but with how do you call this? How was this, like with two sounds, like ka, ki, ku, ho. Like they will have different writings for each one of this so Kur, she doesn't know how to translate it. Okay, Kur in Ulu. All right, something happens in the 6th month. Ulu is the 6th month in the morning of the 28th. What? 28? What the hell? What the hell? Something happens in the morning of the 28th day of Ulu. All right, then Kidney produced a flare. Well, Kidney is a constellation. It is a constellation. So there is a flare in the constellation. Really? Okay, and then even more confusing follows this here. The distance 1 degree and 40 minutes east of the shoulder of the Panther culminates. So, okay, the shoulder of the Panther is a star in the modern constellation of Cygnus, of this flying beautiful bird, Cygnus. Lebet, how is Lebet in English? This is, you know, this, well, I forgot the name of this bird, but in Latin it is called Cygnus, and it is a very beautiful bird with very long neck, flying in the sky. So this is the constellation which in the Sumerian and in the Babylonian times was called Panther, and it was a horrible creature in the Babylonian uranography. The Panther was a horrible creature. Okay, maybe I can show you. Let's see here. I can show you here Cygnus. That's right here. Okay, Cygnus constellation. All right, Cygnus, which is translated as, let me see, Swan, yeah, Swan. So you see, yeah, this here. Yeah, Deneb is the main star here. So yeah, okay, we go on here. So all right, so it is like a point which is 1 degree and 40 minutes east of the shoulder of the Panther, which is, you know, a star there, is on the MC. Okay, well, why this is on the MC? What on earth is going on here is absolutely foggy. And then follows this here, and the sun begins an eclipse. Wow, really? I cannot make tails or heads here, and nobody can, and Rogberg too. Yeah. Why? Because this is complete bullshit here. This kind of pattern is complete bullshit. So do you know? And this repeats actually. The text is like, then this repeats for the seventh portion of Aries, which is called, well, it will be called not Virgo of Aries. It will be called Libra of Aries because it is the seventh portion. And then they will, and then she would put here the seventh month. The text would correlate this with the seventh month, then it will be Kur in the seventh month in the morning of the 28th, and then another constellation will produce a flare, and then another distance from the shoulder of the Panther, and the sun will begin an eclipse. I don't understand anything, but this is the pattern that Rogberg believes is in the text. And do you know what I made? Something very, very simple. I took this text. I took the text, and I followed this pattern to the end of the text. And do you know what happens? In the end of the text finishes without the last two lines, like without the culminating star and without the followed by the star begins on eclipse. So if you follow this pattern in the text and you go to the end of the text, this here will be missing from the last portion, right? Because this kind of pattern repeats. The sixth portion, the seventh portion, the eighth portion, the ninth portion, it goes on until the 12th portion. But when you go to the 12th portion, you will notice something very strange, that these two lines, the last two lines, are missing. So what does this say? They say that this is not the pattern. You know, because the pattern must be the same until the end of the text. And all right, so okay. So what I did actually, I started backwards. I started from the end of the text. I started moving up in the text backwards to see what is the pattern, and I got it. So, okay, the right pattern will emerge if we start from the cycle containing the last 12th dodecatemorial. And here it ends with this here, star fish flared up, and the end. So actually, the pattern will be different. The pattern will be like, it will finish here with the constellation produced a flare. So it will finish here, constellation produced a flare, and it will start with this here. It will start with the distance from the AMC. It it will start, because here the distance, the point from this star culminates. So this is like the description of the MC. This here describes what we have on the MC. So this is the right pattern. It will start with what we have on the MC, right? And it will go. It will finish with constellation producing a flare, and then will come the next portion, the next brick with the same pattern. So there will be a different MC, and then there will be a different Dodecatemorion and a different constellation. So what happens is so nice here, so nice. So what does this mean actually when you look at this pattern? You know, like first, okay, let me think here. Okay, right. So it must contain a culminating star. So yeah, so that's how I actually found out the right pattern. So the right pattern starts with MC, something on the MC, and then what follows after that? Look, for example, here we will. Okay, this is for this, the last sentence here from the translation of Rockberg relates to the next brick, but let's assume that it must be in the beginning, because this here, this is the brick until here, but before that we must have MC, which is, for example, it will not be 1 degree and 40 minutes, but for example, it will be the shoulder of the panther itself, culminates. So, okay, we have here first given what is on the MC, and then we have the sixth portion of Aries, which is the sixth Dodecatemorion of the fixed Babylonian sign Aries, which is called the Virgo of Aries, or the 6th month also. Kur. What means Kur? It means a rising on the eastern horizon. This is a table of houses. It says if on the MC we have something, we have some kind of, like, we have a particular MC, medium celi. On the meridian, we have a particular star or a particular distance from a particular star. So this text says if we have this star on the meridian, then on the eastern horizon will rise the 6th Dodecatemoria of the Babylonian Aries. And so okay, what do we do then with the next lines here? What means in Lul, morning of the 28th, kidney produced a flare? Well, this is saying that if this is the case, then we must look at a particular omen, which is connected with the month Lul, and with the morning, and with the 28th day, and with the constellation. Why? Because look here, like the distance. Okay, first is the text about what is on the meridian, and then the text says, and the sun begins an eclipse. So here, this means that we have we have eclipse. Actually, we have eclipse, and we must find out in which Dodecatemoria is the sun when this eclipse happens, because this will affect this Dodecatemoria. This will affect the omena which is connected with the Dodecatemoria where the sun makes the eclipse. So we must figure out, okay, eclipse happens, but where is the sun? In which Dodecatemoria? How will we compute this? Very simple, very simple. We will, at the sunrise, we will look at the meridian. And what is the MC? And we will know what is on the eastern horizon. So actually, this is a table of houses. This text here is a table of houses. All right. So I here give the real pattern here. If this right ascension or this star culminates at sunrise, and if the sun makes an eclipse, then this Dodecatemoria connected with this constellation will arise on the east. And then we must look for the astrological meaning of this omen, to the relative omen, which is connected with this month and with this constellation.
So you look at when it conjuncts the sun and the moon, the exact same degree.
What was that?
With the eclipse, you look at when the sun and the moon are at the same exact degree, and then what star is rising on the horizon.
Yeah, actually, this text is a table of houses with which the Babylonian priests determined when eclipse happens. They determined with this text in which Dodecatemoria of which sign the eclipse happens.
So it will like flavor what the meaning of that eclipse is.
And then, when they know in which Dodecatemoria of which sign the eclipse happens, they know how to interpret it. And in this text, the text says, look for this omen. So I here destroy Schaumburger for one grammatical error here, because okay, here you see, okay, he uses like, okay, key. He correctly translates as if when. Okay, the second key, however, he translates in a wrong way. So here we have two conditions actually. He translates it like all right, like okay, if he translates it like this, if on the meridian we have this kind of star on the meridian, and the sun, okay, and the sun at somewhere, and it should be translated in a different way. If we have this star on the meridian, and if the sun makes an eclipse, we have two conditions here. All right, so all right, anyway, I'll give you an example here. So here, okay, let me see if I give the right translation on this here. Okay, okay. Okay, after the description of the 6th Dodecatemorion of Aries, follow the words in Lulu at sunrise on the 28th, the kidney star flared up. What does this mean? This is the meaning of the omen in the astrolabe for the star kidney, which is connected with the 6th month, okay, which can immediately find on the other side of the tablet, and it states this omen says, if in Lulu in the morning the kidney star flares up, which means if in Lulu in the morning there is eclipse and the kidney star is connected with the month of Lulu, because the kidney star helically rises in the month of Lulu. That's why she is connected. All right, and then follows the omen says, there will be devouring by God in the land for 3 years and 3 months. So this means that if there is an eclipse in the 6th Dodecatemorion of the Babylonian Aries, there will be devouring by God in the land for 3 years and 3 months. That's it. That's it. So the sun, if the sun is in the 6th Dodecatemorion of Aries, which is connected with the 6th month, with Virgo. Virgo is the 6th sign. Aries is the 1st sign. Virgo
Have you seen this? Rumen, have you seen examples of this play out?
I have researched this. Yeah, several eclipses. I have made this analysis in this way, and yeah, it works out good. It works out good. But I must tell you that there are several different ways to interpret an eclipse. This is one way, but there are other ways too. So look here, what is interesting: 3 years and 3 months. This is not like, well, next month, the king will die, or this year the harvest will be not good. No. Here they are talking about 3 years and 3 months, and what they
very
mean
specific.
Huh?
I just said very specific, huh?
Yeah, very, very specific. And they are saying here, devouring by God in the land. Well, this means, I believe that this means that the harvest will be very poor, and that there will be hunger, because here God is devouring all the harvest, and there is no harvest left. So we have also omena for the eclipses, which talk about 10 years, not 3 years, 10 years of something happened. So yeah. So here, why 3 years and 3 months? Well, this is because with each omen is associated a number. Part that is present also proper for the case of the star kidney. Okay, this number is 3. And why are this why number 3 is associated with the kidney? Well, this is actually connected with the length of the daylight. Okay, all right. And then here I explain also the days, 28, 29, or 30th, what they mean. The whole scheme here is analyzed and is deciphered. deciphered, the whole everything, the whole ways how they used this text here is absolutely detailed, described, and we can repeat it. We can repeat it. Okay, here I go with the meaning of the numbers. All right, so this here is what is the connection here with the numbers. The stars.
Sorry, Roman, are you gonna have enough time to talk about whatever the course is today?
Oh, you mean about what?
The primary directions.
Yeah. Ooh, we have time. We have time.
Okay.
Don't worry. We have time. So yeah, this here is like the connection of the signs with the different stars, because you see the stars in the astrolabe, they are in 3 concentric circles. So we have 3 circles, and they are dedicated to the 3 main divinities: Ea, Anu, and Enlil. And each one of these 3 divinities has 12 constellations. And here is how is the scheme made here. So here are the connections, because you see, when eclipse happens in Aries or in Taurus, we connect it with the 12 constellations of Air, which are the southern belt, which are rising on the southern side of the horizon. So this is the scheme that they follow. So if something happens, however, if eclipse happens in Gemini or Cancer, then we connect it with the stars of Anu. And you see, the logic here is obvious, because Gemini and Cancer, they are like in the middle of the zodiac, that they are very, very high. The sun goes very, very high. And this is connected with the middle of the horizon, which is under Anu. And this is also associated with the second watch, which is the middle of the day. It's this kind of logic. So, all right. So here I actually use the text to, to make a prediction in the Babylonian tradition of a particular eclipse which happened in 2009. So, okay.
So okay, the lunar day.
Pardon?
The lunar day on the eclipse also matters too.
Oh yes. So now this is actually what we follow here. We try to enter into the skin of a Babylonian priest and to write a report on a real solar eclipse. So this is our method. We try to recreate their practice, to be able to recreate what they actually did. And it does not matter whether we believe in this or not, whether we believe in astrology or we don't believe in astrology. This does not matter. If we want to understand these texts, we must be able to use them as the Babylonian priests used them. Okay? So, and this is something that the modern scholars and not only the modern scholars, but this kind of scholars, the followers of Kugler, his students, among his, in his tradition of Kugler, are Pingri, Neugebauer, Francesco Rothberg, almost all modern scholars, with very few exceptions, like from the last century and from this century, almost all scholars in this field are following the tradition of Kugler, which is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They don't try to understand how the Babylonian priests used this text. They don't even try to understand this. They just assume that they were very stupid, that they were very ignorant, and that they didn't know a shit about astronomy and about anything, that they were monkeys jumping here and there, talking bullshit. They just assume this, and they write bullshit. Actually, they were, and they are the guys who are talking bullshit, and not the Babylonian priests. This is the sad truth, because you see, like the theory of Schaumburger and of Francesco Rothberg is that these texts were used to predict eclipses, and that's all that they say, that they were used to predict eclipses from the position of, from some crazy information. And this is not true. This is not true. These texts were used not to predict eclipses, but these texts were used when eclipse happens to compute in which Dodecatemora is the sun, and then to interpret the eclipse by connecting the Dodecatemoria and the sign with a given omen from the astrolabe. And there are 36.
Rumen, I have a question. What did the ancients say in general if eclipse was to fall on a person's birthday, in particular a total lunar eclipse? What would be the the aftermath or the
on the birthday?
Yes, exactly, on the birthday.
Lunar eclipse or
A total lunar eclipse? Yeah, I'm just interested. I know somebody that's this up and coming total lunar eclipse is going to fall on their birthday.
Well, let me see here. I don't think this would be something good. I think eclipses are always connected with problems, always, because the light disappears. The light disappears, and this is not a good thing. So depending on where is the place of the eclipse, in this case, it falls on the sun. Depending on where is the sun, in which sign, and in which house, what kind of aspects it has, what kind of position, we can interpret this eclipse, what it will bring. Of course, lunar eclipses are much softer than solar, but still they're not very, they are not something good. So okay,
and I was going to ask, in general, you could say the impact could last up to a year, or I suppose it very much depends, but
well, the lunar eclipse maybe is not so, it's not so big time. I think In Mesopotamia, it's like 3 months for a lunar eclipse, something like this.
And the solar eclipse, what would it be?
Oh, the solar eclipse, it can be very, 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 very long time. As you see here, for example, okay, look, here is the other side of this tablet, where are given the 36 omena, and it starts here. If eclipse happens in the first month in in the morning, the field star, which is connected with, here you see Nisano, and field is in the stars of the air of the southern belt. So the morning is connected with air and with the southern belt, and this is what this means: devastation of the land, scattering of the people. Okay, and so this goes. These are the omena which are mentioned in this text that I was talking until now. You know, the first thing we do, we figure out in which dodecatemoria, in which sign happens the eclipse. Then we relate this sign and this dodecatemoria with one of these 36 stars, with the logic that I told you, like if it is Aries or Taurus, it will be the belt of air. You know, this first column here. And the month will be shown by the dodecatemoria. If it is the dodecatemoria of Aries, it will be Nisan. If it is the dodecatemoria of Taurus, it will be Ayar, and so on. The dodecatemoria shows the month in this table, and the sign shows the column. Aries, Taurus is the first column. Then Gemini, Cancer is the second. Then Leo, Virgo is the third, starting with Marduk here. And then we go again, like after Libra, and Scorpio will be again the first column. Then Sagittarius and Capricorn will be the second. And then the last two, Aquarius and Pisces, will be the third. So this is what they did with this text. Simple and clear. And here are the omena. So let's see, there was somewhere, there was like, here, look here. If in Nisan, in the afternoon, the star Marduk, for 10 years, the land will eat bounteous food. The gods will be gracious. So this is one of the very few good omens for solar eclipse. And you see, this is for 10 years. Wow, 10 years. 10 years, there will be good harvest. People will be happy. Very nice.
And is the impact, is there also an impact on whether it's physically visible or not? Over,
of course. They, you know, when eclipse is observed in reality, when there is diminishing of the light, this is much more serious. However, in Mesopotamia, they also computed the times when there was possibility for eclipse, and this is the time when the moon, the sun, and the lunar nodes are very close to each other. So they computed also this theoretical possibility of eclipse, and I think they even graded how big is the possibility of eclipse. And in relation to this grading, they also had omena, like if the eclipse is really observed, this is like the most heavy influence, very, very powerful. And if it is not observed, and the possibility is very, very small, then the interpretation is very, very light. So yeah.
And Rumen, so in the case of an eclipse falling on your birthday, obviously it's going to interact with the sun. But what if it was any other personal planet? Like, is there any other personal planet where it would have great impact other than maybe sun or moon?
Well, if it is solar eclipse, it is much more serious, and the consequences are usually not very good. Problems that must be fixed. And if it is lunar eclipse, then there are some authors in the Middle Ages, in the Renaissance, who say that a lunar eclipse on a good guy, Venus or Jupiter, can actually bring something good, or at least mixed things. Some problems, but mixed with something good. If it is lunar eclipse, and if it falls on Venus or on Jupiter, this is the only exception. Okay. So yeah, this is here. This my this complete lecture here and explanation of this text and of the eclipses, actually, although this was not planned, but this is good to know here. And the primary directions, we will go now. Let's see, what time is it here? It's like okay, all right. Woo!
So I just had a quick question. Do you use an orb for the eclipse? Would you use an orb?
Orb?
Yeah.
Oh, well, like the eclipses, they in astronomy, they have them in something like how do we say this? Like they classify. They have classification: total, annular, partial. So if there is eclipse, we can look at the description, at the astronomical description. We can look whether the most important thing is whether it is observable, because for example, Ptolemy says that. Well, no, was it Ptolemy? Yeah, I think Ptolemy, but also Placidus. They both say that if eclipse is not observed, it does not have impact, or at least the impact is much smaller than if it is observed. And the same is actually in Mesopotamia, because I have read some letters from Babylonian priests, astrologers, to the Babylonian king. And in one letter, the Babylonian king was very worried about eclipse that was predicted with some possibility, but the eclipse did not happen. It was not observed, although the moon, the sun, and the lunar nodes were very, very close to each other. Still, it was not enough, and it was not observed. So the priest wrote to the king, don't worry. If the eclipse is not observed, then nothing will happen. So yeah. So this is what they say there. So I think we know this what we did here. This is like a complete explanation of this text, and with very good explanation actually how these scholars just messed up big time. These famous big scholars who are deified, almost deified by the modern science. And in fact, I demonstrated to you in a plain view, very easy and very clearly, that this hot shots, these big guns, actually don't know a shit, and that they have written a complete nonsense. And why is this? You know very well why is this? Because of their arrogance, because they don't respect the ancient culture, they don't respect astrology. They assume that they know everything, and they assume that the ancient priests were kind of absolute stupid idiots. And the opposite is true, that the absolute stupid idiots are the modern scholars who are arrogant and don't respect astrology. So I'm happy that I have demonstrated this to you, although at the expense of the time that we could dedicate to the primary directions. See, but don't
So,
worry.
Rumen,
Yeah.
if someone is listening to this 100 years from now, they may need to understand what bullshit means.
Nonsense.
Use the word
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
Bullshit.
They'll know. They'll know. It's bullshit. Is the shit of bull. It's something which is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So
Thank you for taking the time, Rumen.
Yeah, I'm very happy that I have demonstrated this on a video using my book, because this will be used not only here, not only by you, but I hope by many people, including scholars, because this trend in science, which was set by the black guy Kugler. I mean black in not in color of the skin, but in color of his arrogance.
Dark.
Dark. This dark genius Kugler. So this kind of trend of narrative, which was set more than 100 years ago, I am absolutely sure that this will find its end sooner or later. This will be history. This will finish, and this will open a new era in the research of Mesopotamia, in the research of Babylonian astrology, which will be much more productive, which will throw light on the real mindset of this culture. And this will happen. This is just a matter of time. The bomb has already exploded. I mean, my book, The Babylonian Astrolabe, has been published in 2013. And they still don't have words to say. They still have not made a review, which is the rule. When a book comes out in the academic stream, in several days, months after the publication, or maximum 2 or 3 years maximum, there must be a review, and they still have not made a review. So this means, this shows, you know, that they are in big trouble, that they are in very deep trouble. I mean, this modern narrative is in very big trouble because of this book. And sooner or later, this will have its effect. Whether it will be after 5 years, after 10, after 20, after 50, this is just a matter of time. I'm absolutely sure in this. So look, guys, now is like in my time, it is 15 to 8 p.m. So what do you think? Let's take like 30, 40 minutes break. So in my time, let's come back like in after, let's say, after 40 minutes or 45 even. So we can continue.
Sounds good.
Like, okay, now my time is 15 to 8 p.m. So let's come back in 30 past 8, like after 45 minutes. So you can have a rest.
So I'll stop the recording then.
Oh, Lada, you're here. Wow.
Yeah, I've been here, I've been listening all the time.
Yeah, well, you see, this is so much more interesting, so much more, how to say, amazing and exploding emotionally than this, you know, mathematically absolutely horrible primary directions. No, please, no, only not primary directions, anything else.
Hey, Rumen, were you able to get the recording from the UK event?
You know, I think they sent me email, and in this email they told me how I can get the recording. I have not done it yet, but I will do maybe in this 45 minutes break if I have time. If not, after we finish this session, I will definitely get it and send it to you, because it was very nice. This lecture about Hitler and Kraft. Woo!
I'm excited to hear it, but no rush, okay? I know you have a lot going.
Yeah. I will get it. Okay, guys. After 45 minutes, get ready.